Hi you two, it's me again this week to discuss our home learning. But before we start, we would like to just say how proud we are of you all for working so hard at home on your home learning and continuing to stay motivated. It's fantastic to see all the work that you've been sending in, so please do keep sending it to our Year 2 email address. Now, the home learning that we set for you this week is all in the week 13 folder. The first thing you'll come across is the overview for your parents, so you know the tasks that we've asked you to complete. I'm going to start with the English this week because you may have noticed that we've started to add in a little bit more to our English activities so that you can follow what we are doing in school with our pods. So the first thing you'll find is an overview of each session, and we would like you to begin by watching a little bit more of the Minpins. I hope you're enjoying the story. I know we are in school. If you click on this link, it will take you to the next part. Once you have watched it, the first thing we would like you to do is think about a monster catcher. Because last week you were thinking about creating some monsters and they were fantastically terrifying, the monsters that we saw. So in session 1, we have thought about a monster catcher and what skills they would need to have. So here is Mr. Kane's example. He thinks that a monster catcher must be fearless, be able to throw a spear, good at fighting, and strong. So he started to think of some ideas of what a monster catcher needs to be. So we would like you to either write a list or create a mind map like this one here of all the things you think a monster catcher needs to be, what skills they need to have, any talents they must possess. So really think hard about what would make a good monster catcher. When you've finished session 1, we would like you to move on to session 2. So for session 2, you'll need to remember those skills that you thought about, and we would like you to have a go at creating a wanted poster because we need a monster catcher to rid of all the terrifying monsters that you created. So here again is Mr. Kane's example. So he started by including a picture of the monster catcher. You will probably want to draw your own. And then he's had to go at using the different sentence types, so a question, an exclamation, a command, and a statement to create a description of what the monster catcher must be. So he has, are you fearless and determined? Then we may have the job for you. You should be strong and expert at fighting and have the power to throw a huge spear with great accuracy if you want the job. What a hero you will be if you succeed. Don't delay, come and help us slay the terrible monster now. Now Mr. Kane has identified the different types of sentences that he has used, so you might want to magpie some of his ideas when you create your own. And you'll see he has included those skills that he said a monster catcher must be from session 1. So he said about throwing the spear with great accuracy, of course, and being good at fighting, being strong. So he's used those skills that he came up with. When you've finished your wanted poster, and there is a lovely template there for you to have a go at using if you would like, or you can do it on your own paper. You could create your lovely picture. Then we'd like you to move on to session 3. So for session 3, we want you to think about your own pet monster. So last week you created some terrifying monsters which were really scary. Now I know if I had a pet monster, I probably wouldn't want it to be really scary. I think I'd want it to be quite cute and cuddly. So we want you to now design a lovely cute pet monster. Here is Mr. Kane's. Now he's stolen his from the computer, but I bet you can draw your own fantastic pets. And then we want you to think about what your monster would get up to during the day. I bet a pet monster isn't easy to look after. So here are Mr. Kane's ideas. So Mr. Kane, for his monster, who is called Rufus, it wakes up really grumpy and hungry. It runs around the house making a lot of noise. It chews the bed covers in his mum's room. It demands cornflakes with peanut butter and jam on top. And it slides down the banister insanely and lands by the front door. So we would like you to design your monster and think about what it gets up to during the day and write a few ideas down. Once you've done that, you can then almost create a diary telling us about your pet monster and what it's like to look after him. So here is Mr. Kane's monster log for looking after the monster Rufus. So his says, early each morning Rufus wakes up tired and grumpy and moans that he wants more sleep. At 8 o'clock I put him out of bed as I need to get ready for school and he is making me late. Without warning, he dashes into my mum's room and starts chomping on the bed covers as he cannot wait for his breakfast. Next, he runs around the house making a lot of noise before sliding insanely down the banister and landing by the front door. After he has calmed down, he plonks himself into a chair and demands his favourite breakfast cereal, cornflakes with peanut butter and strawberry jam on top. So you will see Mr. Kane has used his ideas from the previous session where he designed his pet monster to now come up with a diary thinking about his sentences. And you'll notice he has some phrases which are in red, and those are our time words, so our time conjunctions. So here are some examples that you might want to include in your diary entry. So there's quite a few English activities there to keep you busy. And then next week we will finish off our Minpins unit and find out what happens in the rest of the story. So that's all of the English that we would like you to work through. Now remember, you might pick a few activities from there. You might have a go at all of them. We'd love to see the work you produce, so make sure you send it to us. Now in the folders, our next subject is maths. Now for our maths this week, it is focusing on shape. Now we know we set some shape challenges for you during half term, and they focused on 2D shape. So this week we are following the White Rose lesson still. There are some questions on 2D shape, but there are also some activities on 3D shape. So we want you to work through those. We know some of you are amazing at your 2D shape work, so we have also added in a couple of challenges which involve problem solving skills with those shapes. So we'd like you to have a go at those if you are able to work through those White Rose sessions. Our next subject that we have is our reading. So as always, for reading, we have our 2 reading comprehensions. Now this week we have one which is on the NHS, who are very important, doing a fantastic job at the moment and are our heroes. And we also have one which is looking at our habitats work, and this one focuses on a polar habitat and the polar animals that live there. So I hope you enjoy reading that one. You will also see the 2 activities that go with our YouTube video. So Mr. Kane has posted 2 more reading videos onto our YouTube channel. One is on Shelley and Pebbles and the other is on The Lion and the Mouse. So go over to the YouTube channel, watch the videos, and then you can have a go at the activities that are in our folder, and Mr. Kane will also explain them on our video. Now, as well as our reading, we have our spelling as usual. So in our spelling, you will find our spag mat for this week. So thinking about our spelling, punctuation and grammar. There are 3 different sheets on there, so you can choose which level of challenge you would like to do, and then the answer there so you can check your work. All of the skills on there are skills that we have done previously in year 2. And we also have our spelling folder full of all the spellings that hopefully you're working your way through, so that you are ready for when you go to year 3. In the folder as well, we have an art activity for you to do. So I know last week you were thinking about drawing some mini beasts. There are some fantastic pictures, so thank you for sharing them with us. So this week we have continued on the theme of mini beasts, as lots of you seem to be really enjoying it. And one activity that we put in there is just a butterfly outline, and you could colour it in, or you could use different materials to add to a collage to make it really pretty. But we've also added in some mini beasts which have been made from things found outside. So all of these mini beasts that you can see here are made with nature. So we've got bits of flower, the flower petals, we've got blades of grass, we've got sycamore seeds, we've got pine cones, which have all been rearranged to create mini beasts. And I think they look fantastic. So if you get a chance to, when you're outside, it'd be lovely to see what mini beast you can create from the things you find around you. And I know we're going to have a go at that activity when we're in the wooded area in school this week. Now the last thing that we've added in is our science. we've been working really hard on all our habitat work in our science. So we are coming to the end of that learning now. The first thing we'd like you to do is go back and have a look at the habitat videos on the BBC website. The links there will bring you to this page. On this page, you'll find some videos for lots of different habitats. We've got polar habitat, ocean habitat, woodland habitat, rainforest habitat, and so on. So have a look at those, and then we would like you to think about your favourite habitat. Once you've chosen your favourite habitat, we would like you to create a final piece of work to tell us about it. So it might be a fact page. So on your fact page, you might have pictures and information about the habitat, the animals that live there, the plants that live there. Because remember, it's very important to remember a habitat isn't just about animals living there, it's the plants that live there too. So you could create a fact page, or you could have a go at creating your own piece of artwork. So in school this week, we had a go at this challenge, and you can see Miss Crick started her work here. So she thought about the trees that you could find in a rainforest habitat, and she started to add in the animals that you would find there too. And here's another example of a habitat that we found online, and this person has done a polar region habitat, and you can see the different polar animals that live there. So it'll be interesting to see what you do. It might be a poster, fact page, artwork, anything that you could think of. We would love to see it. So those are all the activities that we have for you this week. We hope you enjoy having a go at them, and we can't wait to see the work that you produce. See you later, Year